Welcome back. This is Becoming Kelley. Welcome to episode 2, Deep Dive on Mental Health. I want to start a deep dive series where we pick one topic instead of multiple, and we are just going to dive deep into that specific topic and just talk as much as we can about it in our episode. In episode 2, I have to tell you, it's really personal. I'm sharing the moment I realized I was struggling with depression and anxiety, and I'm going to talk about all the unhealthy ways that I tried to cope. Talking about using the coping mechanisms of food, drugs, vaping, isolation. I'm going to talk about how panic attacks took over my life when I didn't have the tools to cope. We're going to unpack the stigma around asking for help, starting therapy, and how childhood trauma shaped the way I navigated relationships and emotions. I'm going to share stories of loss of some friends. So if that is triggering for you, this is going to be an episode that you may need to skip, and that's totally okay. We'll see you in the next one. We're going to talk about them and how their journeys pushed me to reflect on mental health and reach out. This episode is about healing, about learning that your feelings are valid, but so are others. So it's time we talk about setting boundaries, letting go of control, and giving without expecting anything back. I'll leave you with this. No one's watching. Nobody's watching you as closely as you think. Take the risk, start the thing. Everyone begins somewhere. Let's dive in. Hey bitches, welcome back to the second episode, period. I'm so happy you're here. Okay, I'm going to open up a lot more in this episode about very personal things. So you're going to hear a lot more of my mannerisms and the way that I talk and things like that a lot in this episode. So be ready for that. But I'm not holding back because this is my show. So I can literally do whatever I want. I love it. Okay. So we're going to talk about the deep dive series. Okay, bitches. Fun fact, actually, I used to do a little package series on my Snapchat, on my private story. And when I was living in Valley, Maddie and I had an apartment out there. We got packages frequently, and I would just hop on Snapchat every single time I got a package, and I'd be like, hey, bitches, we got a package. So, hey, bitches. I think that's how I'm going to start each episode. It just feels right. So, yeah, let's get down to it. It's going to be a very touchy episode. So if you feel like you need to skip this episode, please do. I will see you in the next one. Okay, I did my little notes app again today because it just worked really well yesterday. So I'm just going to keep doing that until I find a better system to go with. So I wrote down, we're going to talk about when I first realized I had signs of mental illness, specifically depression and anxiety. I was probably, I want to say it was like 21 when I first realized that I was struggling with things and really started like isolating myself from everybody. That's just when I started noticing that the way I was acting was affecting others and that I was feeling out of body experiences where I just wasn't involved and, just detaching myself from the world and what was currently happening. I started internalizing situations where I feel like also it had to do with empathy. Like I feel like I'm very empathetic, and earlier in my life I was a really big people pleaser. And I think that it just comes with like, if somebody's sad, I have to be sad. Or if somebody's happy, I have to be happy. And sometimes that's really hard when it comes down to like something outside of your control that you can't control it. So like just control how you feel about it. I think that is very important. Also something we're going to touch more on later in the episode. But I started internalizing everything and letting others' opinions and their voices and things start to affect my mind and the way that it would process information. And I was coping poorly, we can say. I started getting into marijuana, and vaping was a thing. I mean, vaping obviously is still a thing, very unknown, which is scary, and happy I actually, fun fact, quit vaping cold turkey. So proud of myself there, pat on the back. Anyways, but that's how I was coping. I literally would sit in bed all day. At this time, I was crashing, so I wasn't working because I really couldn't go in public, and I just wasn't understanding. Like, my world was literally spiraling, and I'm like, I don't know what is happening, but I can't go outside. I'm afraid of everything. Everybody's scaring me. I'm nervous. Why is my body acting this way? It just felt very out of my control, but that's a scary feeling when it's your body. So, yeah, I started smoking and I was vaping, and I ate a lot. I loved to just sit and eat, and I think it was because it just took my mind off of it, and I don't know if it was the hand-to-mouth thing after I stopped vaping. Also while I was vaping too, but just the hand-to-mouth motion of, constantly eating something, and like, my house was filled with garbage. You're younger and you're finally going grocery shopping, so you're like, all right, period. I can buy all the shit that I want, like, whatever. I'm going to buy pop. I'm going to buy this and whatever, and obviously that's great, but you have to have some sort of self-control, and I did not. So I was fueling my body with literal garbage, like, vanilla Cokes and chips and unhealthy dinner options and things that just, like, I've never cared about macros or ingredients or really any of that shit up until recently. So that I just didn't really care, but it catches up quick. All the fucking party pizzas and bagel bites and cereal. Oh, yeah. So that was also around the time Maddie first introduced me to almond milk. I'm lactose intolerant, for those that don't know. And it changed my fucking life. I probably consumed, I don't even know how many boxes of cereal, because I had never really been able to have cereal. It just hurt my stomach so bad because of milk. And I was kind of uppity at the granola moms. So I'm like, I'm not fucking drinking almond milk. Like, that's fucking disgusting, bitch. Just drink the milk and suffer the consequences. But eventually I just stopped, doing anything or eating anything that had milk in it. So that was a whole new world to me. I was like, oh my God, I can enjoy cereal. This is a whole new life. Not healthy, but that was how I was coping. Next, I want to talk about addressing the stigma on reaching out for help, and why people think it's so bad to start therapy. Like, what is wrong with people? Like, I feel like it's really egotistical, and it's their pride where they feel like they're too good for therapy. Therapy is good for everything. You could have nothing, which I highly doubt anybody has nothing wrong with them. Everybody needs therapy, bitch. But I can guarantee you, going to therapy and talking for an hour of your week, you're going to enjoy it. It feels great. It is a release to vent, and a place, to be able to just get some things off your chest or get some advice on how to move forward with whatever you're going through. Next, we're going to talk about how relationships can affect your mental health. I, unfortunately, was when I was really young, I want to say like 15, I got into a really abusive relationship. And then the relationship after that was also abusive. Physical and verbal abuse from a young age is traumatizing. Obviously, when you're in those situations, most people don't talk about them when they're going through them. So how are you supposed to know if somebody else is going through that? You know who to reach out to for help. Or that sort of concept, I think, really took me for a whirlwind. This next topic is a little bit trigger sensitive, if you will. I didn't know if I wanted to talk about this or not in this episode. It's not written down, but I'm thinking about it now, and I just feel like I want to put it in there because it has played a ginormous role on my mental health. So when I was younger, I want to say probably 6 or 7 years old, I unfortunately was a victim of child sexual abuse. And unfortunately, my abuser was someone that was very close and familiar to my family and in my life. And I think that that was also really hard to navigate, not knowing who to talk to, because there is the feelings of caring about that person, and you've, built a relationship with this person your whole life, And so it's like, well, I don't want to do anything to get somebody in trouble or, so I internalized it. Just now, this is the first time I'm speaking about it publicly, but it's very recent that I even opened up about this. I mean, maybe 3 years ago, I told Maddie. Maddie was the first person I talked to about it. First person I've ever felt comfortable enough to let that entire wall fall. I can't thank her enough for being there for me for that, because it's helped me navigate so much of my life going forward since those past 3 years. But yeah, so I feel like that also has played a ginormous part on my mental health and the journey that I've been on with it. It is not something somebody likes to bring up just to talk about. It's hard. It's triggering. And I just want people to know that, like, you're not alone. And I know that we always see that. We see that. You watch influencers and all this other shit and celebrities, and they're like, you're not alone if you're going through it. And yeah, we're like, okay, yeah, I'm not alone, but you're a multimillionaire and you got all this. Yeah, we ain't. I just feel like we're not struggling the same, which could be totally false, but, from the outside looking in. But more specifically, me, like, I'm not going to say I'm a nobody, because I'm a bad bitch, okay? But I'm not going to sit here and say that it didn't happen, because it did. And it can happen to anybody. And that's something that people really, really, really need to start opening up about more if they have the courage. And we need to start talking about it more, because the things that are happening are absolutely unacceptable. The things that I went through were unacceptable. And we need to make sure that future children are protected and that they have the resources and the knowledge to help themselves when they don't know that that may even be an accident, So anyways, all right, well, that was hard. Moving on to the next one, which is still going to be hard. So I'm sorry, we're still going to be in the dirt for a minute here. We are now going to talk about loss due to mental battles. I was, I think, a senior. I was a junior or senior in high school. And there was a boy that my friend at the time and I had both known. And I want to say he went to a church or something that we had went to growing up. I don't remember how we ended up knowing him, or maybe skating, roller skating. I don't know. One day we were coming home from school and I was over at her house, and her mom is like, what's happening? And we're like, what are you talking about? And we looked down the street, right down the hill is where he lived from her. And there was a fire truck and an ambulance that was down there. And her mom had called a neighbor to see if everything was okay. They didn't know which specific house it was or whatever. And unfortunately, he did not survive after the attempt of taking his life. And I think that's really hard to witness, not witness specifically, physically with my own eyes, but to just see the commotion and watch it unfold. That was the first time that I've ever seen mental health take somebody's life, and somebody that I knew. So I felt like that was kind of hard, trying to figure out, how is he struggling with these things, and why didn't he talk to people, and, So I ended up finding those things out later in life through this mental health journey. And, I understand a lot more, and I've been through a lot through my own mental journey, but it has helped me understand a little bit more on how people are struggling and the decisions that they choose to make. And then the next day at school, we found out that it was him through the other neighbor. And then the next day at school, we had, I think, a morning vigil or something like that, like a morning before class. Everybody gathered in the gym. He had some, I don't know if they're I don't want to say issues, but he had some qualities that people made fun of him for. You know, there was things that the football team loved to give him shit for, right? Like, loved to make fun of him and joke with him all the time, and he would joke back. And to see the aftermath of those who cared, those who bullied, those who didn't know him and, you know, just knew that he went to our school and honored him that way, it really shows people's true colors. It's sad to say that that's something that has to bring out people's true colors, but the football team did not hold back from, you know, I'm not going to say it was everybody, but there was some people on the football team who were his bully and bullied him, and they were there, you know, saying they loved him so much and this and that and the other. And I'm like, you should have treated him so much differently if you loved him. Like, it's just so sad to watch people claim innocence when that's something that they should be dealing with so they don't affect others or themselves later in life. That was the first experience that I had with that. The second one, after I had graduated, there was a girl that I went to high school with. Oh, sorry. I don't want to skip over that. Actually, going back. Sorry. So the guy in football, we all did like a vigil or whatever. We honored him. And then they ended up putting a special picture and dedication page in the yearbook that year for him. Yeah, they had bracelets made out and everything. And sorry, I wanted to make sure that I got that yearbook experience. I feel like that's so sweet and genuine that they did that, and it's a big deal. Also, a little tidbit just in between these two people that I've lost or that I've known that have passed. People need to celebrate every day. When I worked at Lululemon, I bought $5 Scooters gift cards for every single individual that I worked with. Manager, not manager, coworker, friend, not friend. Every person I worked with, on their birthday, they got a $5 Scooters gift card. We had Scooters is the coffee's place, if you don't know what I'm talking about. So Scooters Coffee. I'm actually sitting in front of one. That's so funny. Anyways, but I get everybody a $5 Scooters gift card, and you can go and get yourself a treat or a drink or something. I'm not saying you have to spend money to celebrate people, but after my mental health journey, everybody's birthday and everybody's days deserve to be celebrated. Every birthday. It doesn't matter if it's not a big celebration and it's it's 23 or if it's 43 or whatever, an odd number. Like, it doesn't matter. The fact that you have made it another year here, earthbound, is an accomplishment for some. And it should be celebrated as such. It breaks my heart that over the years, you watch the joy of becoming a child and having birthday parties wither away. I had the best fucking birthday parties. Like, I'm sorry, I'll say in my childhood, my mom was that bitch. Like, I had the best fucking parties. Then once I got older, people forgot my birthday. And I'm like, how the fuck did you forget it was my birthday? Like, I would never forget your birthday. It's crazy. And even if I don't know, when I worked at Lululemon, even if I didn't know if it was somebody's birthday, I always had a gift card on me, or I would buy one and give it to him the next time I saw him or something. And I'm just like, seriously, you need to celebrate. Take some time for yourself and just take a minute. Stop overlooking everything. Everybody's, celebrate your friends. I am so big on that. I just feel like, why did we stop having parties? I get that they don't need to be extravagant and fun at these crazy places anymore, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't celebrate. Anyways, all right, on to the next person. So also from high school, this was a female. We weren't really close at the time. We really weren't. We hung around different cliques, but we sat right next to each other in one of our classes, and we just bonded a lot through that class. It was boring. So we had a lot of time, a lot of things to talk about. Met her in high school. And then after we had graduated, I had followed her on I'd always followed her on social media, and I wasn't oblivious to the fact that people do drugs. Okay. I was dabbling, I was trying things, I was hurting, you know what I'm saying? So I totally understood. I was not judging you for the use of whatever you're using. People cope different. But I saw her posting these stories that were so, I mean, they were brutal to watch. Like, you could tell that she was hurting. It just was so sad. It was literally a cry for help. You could see that she was disconnected from herself, like in her eyes. And it just was so fucking sad to me. And I had never really like hung out with her outside of school or anything, but we kept up on socials and stuff, and we both kind of, would swipe up or we'd chat back and forth over certain things that we'd see. But I had finally reached out to her one day. She was posting these Snapchats of, she's like, I'm so mad. My neighbors called the police on me or something because she was drunk and asleep in her front yard. And they called the police on her, and I guess they had called the police on her before or something, but she was like, it's my business, it's my yard, like, I didn't bother you, why do you have to bother me, blah, blah, blah. And it just was, I was like, wow, you slept in your front yard. Like, this is, I need to reach out now. Like, I will feel guilty if I don't say anything. And I reached out to her, and I was like, hey, like, I know shit is crazy, but if you are ever trying to hang out, like, we literally don't have to do anything. We can literally just hang out. We don't have to go anywhere. But if you ever want to chat or if you want to hang out, like, please, please, please do not hesitate to hit me up. Like, I don't have a whole lot of friends. I would always have time to chat, whatever. Just really trying to lend a hand. And she was like, oh my God, yes, I can't believe we haven't hung out since high school, blah, 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 blah. It was nice. And I was like, great. Like, I'm glad, I'm glad that I reached out, and hopefully she'll reach out to me, and like, I would swipe up occasionally after that and be like, haha, or like, just so she knew, like, I was still here. And unfortunately, she took her life. I think, I do not want to be quoted because I am not 1,000% sure. I think she overdosed, but I am not sure on that. I also, again, wasn't one of those people who was super duper close to her. So I did not go to the funeral or anything. I paid my respects in another way. But when I saw the post that she had passed, and everybody from high school was posting pictures and saying like, oh my God, I'm going to miss you so much. And people that, we did have mutual friends that were like best friends with her, so I saw other pictures through them and stuff too. But I was like, oh my God, you're lying. Like, please don't let that be true. I remember my heart fell to my stomach. I was just so at a loss for words. I felt so terrible. So yeah, that was really hard. But we will try our best to up the energy in this episode as much as we can for the rest of it. I have some motivating things that I've learned, so that will be nice to finish off with. But another thing that I found once I started my mental health journey was a doctor that prescribed me medication. It took a couple times, I'm not going to lie. Note to anybody, if you're getting on a medication that is going to alter your brain chemistry like that, I recommend you prep yourself that it is a long adjustment period. It is not 2-3 days. Now I feel better. Like, you're taking these pills for 2-3 weeks before you start to see small changes. And that's hard sometimes because you're still going through this horrible fucking rut that you want to get out of, and you're just dragging, and you're like, okay, nothing's fucking, like, I started taking these pills. They're not fucking helping. Like, this is stupid. And you feel like you don't need to take them anymore. Or they help and you feel great and you feel like you don't need to take them anymore. You still need to fucking take them. Take your damn pills, okay? And don't be afraid to get on them, okay? Just because you get on pills does not ever mean that you have to stay on them forever, depending on what medication you are. What medication you are on. I am also not a doctor, so do not listen to me. I ended up getting on a medication that helped with my mood, one that helped with my anxiety. And then I also found out that I have what's called fibromyalgia. It's a condition that affects your body physically. I'm pretty sure it progresses arthritis. You have those very sore joint feelings and like terrible body ache feelings, like when you're really, really sick and you feel like you got hit by a bus and it hurts to lift your arms and walk and do normal things. That's kind of what flare-ups feel like. There's a lot of people that don't understand it or feel like, fibromyalgia or arthritis is only for people who are old. That's false. It can change due to the weather. So quick weather changes when it goes from hot to cold, which it loves to do here in Nebraska because Mother Nature's bipolar as fuck. That's one of the things that can affect fibromyalgia and cause flare-ups. So even if your body feels like the weather's starting to change and you're like, God, like the weather isn't even bad. Like what is happening? Later on you'll know that there's a storm and you're like, wow, I had no, that makes sense. Makes a whole lot of sense. Okay. Your body is very intuitive, more than you think you are smart. So, that's a heads up and a reminder to listen to your fucking body. Just because you feel like something's wrong with you, don't overlook it. You're not a hypochondriac. You're not overreacting. Just go get it checked out. Like, go get it checked out. It could be nothing, but it could be something. And it could be something, that is nothing, but it bothers you every fucking day. And there could be something you could do to fix that. So I will say the trial and error on medication and the dosage amounts and quantities and that type of thing is something that's tricky to nail down. But once you get there, I will say, schedule yourself a good, expect a good 6 months to see some changes and to start, being able to adjust to the medication. And you'll start learning like, oh, this medication's great, but it, I have this side effect. So they can either up it, lower it, change it to something else that, can work well with your body. Just go get help. I feel like my family is one of those families that my grandparents never went to the doctor growing up. My grandpa's still so stubborn. Anyway, okay, so trial and error for medication. Okay, now I just recently went back to the doctor because I've been struggling again with not necessarily depression, but my anxiety has been having some random flare-ups. I am on a medication and I have an emergency medication that I take when I feel like I'm going to have a panic attack or when I feel like I need to calm down. But those usually make me a little drowsy. So I tend to only take them at nighttime, or if I'm going to take them during the day, I got to tap out for the day. I can't drive on those. That's something that I have been struggling with. So I was like, I need to figure out and my sleep. I forgot to write that down here, but the way that mental health affects your sleep, get it taken care of because it keeps you up at night. You might not know it. You might think it oh, these thoughts keep me up at night, blah, blah, blah. But you really don't know to what extent. It's going to affect you for a long time. Get it taken care of. I just recently went back and she was like, I know this kind of sucks. I need you to try not to take naps. I was like, I love a good nap. And she's like, I know, but you can't take naps if you want to sleep at night. And I'm like, oh, fine. So I'm recently giving up naps. Cold turkey. It's terrible. But also she told me to try to be a little bit more physically active. So I've been going to some Pilates classes and yoga, trying to get my body moving a little bit more and just walking on the treadmill during the day when I'm at home, trying to get some steps in and stuff like that. I know it will help me mentally and physically is great. So that is nice. Okay, now this is going to be my favorite part, the last tidbit of our episode here. I have not stopped this one recording, this one memo that I've started. I've just been kind of, going on, and I leave a little bit of blank space when I'm thinking or whatnot. We're at 32 minutes. I am a yapper, okay? And, oh, hey, heads up. Yesterday, Maddie said, I thought that was going to be your third thing when you said, what's 3 things somebody would say about you? I thought that you would say that you're a yapper. I was like, I thought starting a podcast would make that clear, but I guess that would be a good third word. So she was like, but then when you said IBS, I was like, oh yeah, definitely IBS. I was like, yep, okay, I'm glad we're on the same page. Okay, last topic we're going to talk about are the little tidbits and life lessons that I have learned in therapy. I started going to a therapist when yesterday I was talking about that mental health hole where I fell in and I started, rushing a relationship and all these things. That's when I started seeing a therapist as well. Thank goodness. Unfortunately, I think I waited a little too long because I made some poor decisions, but that's okay. It's fine. They make us who we are. Anyway, so we're going to talk about what I've learned there and the little things that she told me that I have put into effect in my life and how they have changed my day-to-day life and how my personality, my boundaries, and my mannerisms, my values have changed. So this is why, a lot of people are telling you like, oh, you've changed. I'm sorry, but if you haven't changed, that's alarming. Take it to therapy, okay? Because you should be changing. Things should be happening. And I'm sorry, but everybody's a fucking bitch when they're a kid. People go through terrible times, and it could be not their fault, I'm not saying I'm innocent or anything, but I just, don't worry about it. You got it. Okay. Starting with, you don't get to decide how your actions or your words affect others. How you feel and you blow up and you burst out and you say blah, 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 and we're getting in an argument and da-da-da-da. You don't get to decide, well, I was just raising my voice and saying that because I wasn't trying to make you feel bad. I was just trying to let you know. I'm trying to tell you, like, this is how I feel. And two things can be true. That's great. I'm glad you're trying to tell me how you feel. But that doesn't mean that moment of you trying to tell me how you feel, that doesn't mean that didn't affect me differently. That can affect me in a way that you don't mean to hurt somebody's feelings, but you are. And I think that's something people don't realize because it's very one-sided. But also, keep that in mind, your feelings are valid. That doesn't mean, again, two things can be true. That doesn't mean just because that person doesn't agree with you and because they're not owning up to the way that they made you feel, that doesn't mean that your feelings aren't valid. You definitely have a right to feel that way because X, Y, and Z, and I feel like communication is so big in life in general. And it's something that I have been trying to work on more as I've become an adult. So I feel like that's something I've been really trying to work on, is that how do I express it to somebody else in the way that they are going to take it? You need to start learning how to communicate with others in the way that they communicate best. So you might communicate best it's the same thing as learning. You might be a visual learner or hands-on learner or a whatever. People learn differently. People feel differently. So your feelings are also valid. And that goes both ways. That other person really wasn't trying to make you feel bad. Maybe that's how they made you feel, but that wasn't their intention, so their feelings are now guilty because they didn't mean to make you feel that way. Next is the moment that you realize, this is my favorite one. I think this is honestly my favorite fucking one. The moment that you realize what is and isn't within your control is when you actually start living for yourself. I'm going to say it again because it just seems very podcast-ish, The moment you realize what is and what isn't within your control is when you start actually living for yourself. The moment I realized, I started taking every fucking situation that happened to me and I said, is that something that I can control? It's not. Okay. All right, cool. I don't have to care. Because again, I was so empathetic. I was such a people pleaser. I was like, God, I would do anything to make this person feel good. I would do anything to make this person be happy, Once you realize you're not the one that's going to be able to make that decision, is when you stop trying to chase that goal. And when you stop chasing that task of trying to do XYZ and you realize that it's outside of your control and you have no input, it is so freeing. Oh my God. I will say I was a bitch who felt like I needed to control everything 100%. If you asked somebody 5, 6, 7 years ago that something about me, they'd be like, yeah, she feels the need to be really bossy. She's in control all the time, because I felt like I could control everything. If I can control, then this will be great. And never thinking about how that would affect others, of course, because I'm fucking, 15? I don't care. Of course, yeah. But once I started realizing, oh my God, I actually don't have to be the one to put in the effort for that. And I had so much energy. I was like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do with all this time? Now I'm not worrying and scared about what so-and-so is going to say or how blah, blah. No, you cannot contribute anything to that situation and you walk away from it. Your shoulders get so much lighter. I love that little tidbit. I'm so grateful that she showed that to me because it has literally changed my life. Another one is stop reaching out first and watch what happens. I am super big on cancel culture, okay? Not necessarily, I shouldn't say cancel culture, like cutoff culture. That's what we should say. I'm huge on it. I don't need multiple times to see your true colors for me to make a decision. If you show me that this is who you are, why do I need to stick around for you to hurt me multiple more times? Because I already know that you can hurt me. I already know that you can make poor decisions. Why do I need to stick around so I can be the one to endure them? No thanks. I'm good. You hurt me. You talk shit about me. You know, why do I need to stick around for that? So you can do it some more? Give you some more to talk shit about? No, that's ridiculous. I can't. So I'm big on cutoffs. Like if something is not literally adding value to your life, when you walk away from it and it doesn't make you happy after you just spent 45 minutes at so-and-so's house, or you went out to lunch with so-and-so, or you have a class with this one person, or, you know, you're spending all your time putting all this energy into a relationship, do they call you first? Are you the ones that always like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Hey, what are you doing? And they're always the person that's like, oh, I'm busy. I'm doing XYZ. And you're like, all right, cool. Again, hey, what are you doing? You know, a week later, oh, I'm doing da-da-da-da-da, but I also have to do da-da-da-da. I'm busy. Okay, you know, and recognize that. And sometimes people think that just because that means like, oh, well, you don't put in any effort to our relationship. You can decide whether that means that they stay in your life or not. If they're not benefiting your life, but you know that and you're not expecting anything from them out of it, or you don't want anything further out of that friendship or that relationship, then that's totally cool. You know, totally cool. Whatever. Start to recognize like, oh, like they never hit me back. They never text me back. They never text me first. They never ask me to hang out. You know, you can stay friends with those people, but just put those into perspective. Like, you know, take that into account when you're making decisions on if you want to spend time with them and how that made you feel when you walked away from it, or the amount of effort that you want to put in for somebody who doesn't put in that amount of effort for you. Next one. Again, that's actually one of the one. I actually love that. That put me to my next topic. So realize if you have underlying expectations you didn't know were there, because they can affect the way that you act or respond to others. Hold on. Sorry, I wrote this down wrong or weird. Realize if you have underlying expectations you didn't know were there, but they can affect the way that you act or respond to others, or expecting things from others. And then I always put in the same amount of effort as you and expecting. So you always expect that people should give you the same amount of effort in return. Like underlying expectations are saying, I never told this person that I want them to, you know, bring me flowers and coffee every Monday, but I'm just going to be shitty on Monday when I don't get it. Like, no. I'm sorry, but you're going to have to realize, like, that's not, like, you shouldn't expect those things. Just because somebody brings you flowers every Monday and coffee every Monday, that's great. But when they choose, or when they're going through a hard time, or they didn't have time to stop on a specific Monday, you should not sit there and be mad at that person or bring it up to that person that they have not fulfilled that Monday or the weekly duty or whatever it is that the expectation is. You need to realize, this is my next one, you need to realize that the intent, you need to always, always, always give with the intent that you never respect anything in return. Even if that means, hey, my friend asked me if they could borrow $100. They told me that they were going to pay me back on Friday, you know, when they get paid. And that's fine, because by Friday, you know, by Saturday, then I have that bill that comes out. No, you do not do that and hope that that person is going to give you your money back. You should always give that money with the intent, knowing that you will never give it back. If they give it back to you, that's fucking awesome. Period. We love that. We love a bitch that fucking follows through with the shit they say they're going to do. Okay? We love it. But there's a lot of people that don't follow through with that. And that says a lot about them. And, you know, that pulls their colors out. So you recognize those. When somebody shows you their fucking colors, look at them. Like, take off the glasses or whatever the fuck you wear, your blind side, you know, love blind, or no, take them off. Like, they are showing you who they are as a person and what they are capable of. You need to understand that when you give, you should give knowing like, I'm going to give this person $100 because she's my best friend. She is going through some shit right now. And I know that she would do it for me. Like, I know that I would try my damn hardest to pay her back. But if she doesn't try to do the damn hardest to pay me back, that's fine. Because you should want to do it just to want to do it. Not because you think you are going to do it and be able to use it as collateral, you know, like, oh, well, I lended you that money that one time and you never paid me back. That shit kills relationships, okay? The whole back, it's annoying. Like, you don't have friendships where you're like, oh, I'm going to pay, you know, people go back and forth and they pay, I'll pay for coffee this time. I'll pay for coffee this time. And you're like, oh, well, you paid 2 times in a row. Okay, so there's going to be a time next week that you're going to fucking pay 3 times in a row. You know, that's the give and take in a relationship and in a friendship. And that's what you should be putting in. And if you're not, what the fuck are you bringing to the table? Because no. Next, nobody is going to follow you around and support you and lift you up and hype you up all day. Nobody is going to do that. I get told, you just think you are so much better than everybody else. And you hold your standards are so fucking high. And you think you know everything. And everybody else is a piece of shit because they don't do blah, blah, blah. No. No. I think that I'm a bad bitch. And I carry myself with that presence because nobody else is going to do that for me. You do not have a fucking personal cheerleader that follows you around all day saying, yay, you wiped your ass. Yay, you signed a piece of paper. Yay, you're shooting for your goals. No, nobody's going to fucking do that for you. Okay? You have to set those goals and be okay with the effort and the amount that you put in. Nobody else is going to follow you around to tell you, you know, like the same thing about like the Mel Robbins thing about nobody's going to tell you to get up. Nobody's going to tell you to get off the couch. Nobody's going to tell you to go walk or whatever. Like, you have to want to do those things for yourself. And I feel like that works the exact same way. Like, nobody is, you know, like, I've listened to a couple podcasts and they've said I think it was Ellen Pompeo on Call Her Daddy, maybe. I don't know. This is the time, you know, now that you're making it big, I'm probably butchering this, so no quotes, but this is the time once you finally make it big that people are not happy for you. Everybody is not happy for you because you signed a deal. Like, you know, there's girls out there that's like, yeah, she signed 160 million or something for Call Her Daddy with SiriusXM. Like, we're all like, fuck yeah, bitch, that's a bad bitch move, like, period. You know, those are the girls. They gas you up. And we are so grateful for those people, but you can't expect that you're going to have them in life either. That's bad underlying expectations, you know? But I absolutely 100% believe that you put yourself on a pedestal. However, I put myself up there with a reasoning behind it. I feel it is okay to be cocky within reason. Have a reason behind your actions and why you set up certain rules and why you set up boundaries or why you have specific values. You need to be able to explain that to somebody in a way that is kind of not cocky. Sometimes people don't like that you're cocky. People don't like that you're succeeding. It's just, unfortunately, people are fucking haters, okay? So when you get to a point that you're doing good, people aren't happy for you. They're like, ugh, like, she's fucking rich now? God damn, like, she doesn't deserve to be rich. Like, seriously, she shouldn't have money. Like, I'm sorry. Who the fuck are you? And what are you doing? Put yourself up there. If you say, I'm huge on manifestation, and so many people tell me, like, or say, like, oh, I'm never going to be rich. Not with that fucking attitude, you're not. You're right. You're never going to be rich, ever. You're going to be poor forever. With that fucking attitude. You try to make things happen unintentionally by setting goals through manifestation. I'm going to be rich one day, you know? And people, when you're younger, you say, like, oh, I'm going to be rich. And parents are all like, oh, yeah, how are you going to do that? And a lot of us are like, I don't know, but I'm going to figure it the fuck out. You know, like, that is the attitude that you have to carry throughout, like, having the imagination big enough to see yourself where you want to be. And that right there is visualizing where you want to be in life and your future, or visualizing your goals, is literally what helps you get to them. Think about it every day. Take a picture of it. Set it on your phone screen. Unintentionally, that is in the back of your head every day. It helps you make the decisions that are going to lead you that which way that you are supposed to go. And I feel like you have to be able to tell people, like, yeah, you're right. I am cocky. That's, and that's kind of my within reason. You're right. I do think I'm a bad bitch. You want to know why? Because nobody else is going to. If they do, that's great. But I have to be okay with myself. I'm not looking for validation in other people. That's another thing. Stop looking for validation from others. You need to be happy with yourself and be able to go out and promote yourself as an individual. Give people a reason why they want to be with you, why they want to give you something, why they want to be a part of your life. Like, oh my God, I want to be a part of her life. She fucking goes out and she travels. She's a traveler. She's a go-getter, and I want to be around that. Or I like that, I'm a very big believer in put yourself around the people that you want to be like, or the people that you want to be around. And if that means you start at the fucking bottom by working for the rich people, then you work for them. Because eventually you are going to be sitting next to them. Get the intel, get the behind the secrets, get the behind the scenes, build those relationships, put yourself in those positions. And I'm not saying like, oh, well, that's a lot easier. It's a lot easier said than done. Sure. However, I was nannying. I was a nanny for a really wealthy family in Omaha and got great experiences, and got to learn so many things from that opportunity. If you want to be around wealthy people all the time or whatever, and that means that you start by serving at a fancy ass fucking restaurant, then that's what you do. And honestly, it's going to lead you to a good place in the sense that like already then you want to be around them, but you only have serving capabilities. Go serve at Fleming's or Charleston's or, top-notch areas. Like go to those places and you're getting, those bills are expensive and you might not be able to eat there. You can't get a meal to go, for that $500 bill or $100 filet or whatever it is. But those people that ate that and paid that bill, they have to tip you. And you're now making a percentage of that meal. So if the ticket is higher, your money is higher. So yeah, it might take you, people that, dine fancy, it takes them sometimes 2 hours to have a meal. Where when you go out to eat at a sports bar, they're like, this bitch has been at my table for 2 hours. Like, I'm not being able to, they're not ordering anything else. They're only going to have a $50 bill. They're not going to give me any more money and they won't move so that I can put other people there that could give me more money. That's the thought process. And so if that means that you're sitting there, you get a $300 tip off that one table. How many hours are you at work? Start to make those things known. What's the next one? You are your worst critic. You are your worst critic. Nobody is watching you. Nobody cares what you do. And so what if people judge you? If people are watching you and they're judging you, they're fucking haters. Because if they are doing anything other than supporting you or guiding you in the right direction to better your life, they are haters. I'm sorry to say. Kick them to the fucking curb. Who cares? And that's a thing where I'm like, I don't understand. People are, that's why sometimes I don't like vlogging or TikToking in public just because I don't make that kind of content. But for other people who do, and they're like, oh my God, it's so awkward, filming in public. It's so embarrassing taking a video of myself while I'm walking around. How embarrassing is it? You're worried about somebody watching you make a video, but you're putting it on the internet for everybody else to see. Make it make sense. You need to be okay with people watching you make the video if you're okay with posting the fucking video. Come on. That just doesn't make sense to me. Successful people don't make fun of beginners. Authors are never going to fucking make fun of you for starting to write if you want to be a writer. Olympic athletes are never going to make fun of you for wanting to start a new hobby or a new sport or because you're working out. It's never a bad idea to start something. And anybody that doesn't cheer you on or thinks otherwise is a hater. Unfortunately, they're very common in life. They're like fucking snakes. They're everywhere. It's gross. Anyways, so yeah. It's never bad to start something. And I try to tell myself, everybody started Jesus, I can't fucking talk today. Everybody started somewhere. And when they opened that business account, it said 0.00. Okay? scooters, Walmart, Target, like Amazon, they all started with zero. Zero. Okay? Zero's not a bad fucking number. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to grow. You're at zero. That's better than negative. So it can only go up from here as long as you aren't going to fucking beat yourself down. That's when you get negative. When you're like, oh, I only have zero. I have zero followers. I have zero. Who fucking cares? Who cares? Make it an opportunity. I have zero people listening to this fucking podcast. Guess what, bitch? Overnight, I have quite a few people listening. Quite a few for me is like 10. That's a lot, okay? I don't talk to that many people on the daily. I don't, and it started at zero. Emily Kaiser, Avery Woods, 2.5 million started at zero, okay? And those people are never going to fucking make fun of you for starting at zero. They're not. The people that are going to make fun of you are the people that sit at zero or below and never do anything to make it higher. Those are the people that are going to fucking be haters. And don't listen or take advice from somebody who you wouldn't want to be like them. Their life is shit. They're terrible at fucking relationships. They're terrible at finances. They're terrible at communication. They're terrible at whatever. Whatever it is, forget it. Like, they are never going to support you. And you have to realize that. So just realize everybody fucking started at zero and go from there. Okay? Don't ever take advice from somebody. Your life sucks. So why the fuck would I listen to what you have to say? Or like, your track record with girlfriends is shit. So why would I listen to any, like, what is your 2 cents going to do for me? It's clearly not working for you. So, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, Okay. Lastly, my last one is be grateful for, see, look, let's do a time check. I'm at 56 minutes, hoes. I was telling everybody, they were like, oh yeah, like, did you have to edit a lot? And I was like, you know what's sad is that I didn't really edit a whole lot out of that last episode. I was like, no, honestly, like, I just yapped. I could just sit and talk over and over and over, like, just without shit to run out of talking about, I guess. But I was like, no, yeah, I only, like, probably edited out 5 minutes or so of, like, dead space, blank silence, like, where I was thinking or I was, whatever. So yeah, here we are, 56 minutes on this clip. And we have a couple more that we're going to add into it from earlier, but that's okay. All right, last tip I'm going to leave you with to think on for your life is be grateful for the things that you wanted in the past that you never received. Oh my God. Could you imagine if you were still with the fucking person you were in high school and you wanted to love and get married and have babies with them? Could you fucking imagine what your life would look like right now if you actually got married to that person and had babies with them? Is that still what you want? Probably not. Shit changes. You're going through shit. People go through shit. They lose people. They grow. They, develop. Life goes on. And you have to realize that it comes with so many opportunities. So make sure you're ready for them when they come your way. Like, you're always wishing for something, like, I really want to be rich. I really want to be rich. I really want to be rich. Okay, well, when you become rich, are you going to be financially responsible enough? Are you at that point where you took the time to educate yourself on finances so that you can manage it properly so that it lasts the way that it should? Or are you just, you want to be rich, and you're going to blow all your fucking money, and then now you're at square one? So be ready for those things. Like, if you want to be a mom, you need to be the mom that you're ready to be for somebody to, before you even have that baby. Like, be proud to be like, this is who I am as a mom. Even though I'm not a mom yet, this is who I am. And I feel like that's so important. Just be grateful for the things that you never got, that you thought your world was ending or your life was fucking over or you lost a job or whatever, or you didn't get the job you really, really wanted. It has put you where you are right now. And whether you think that that is a good place or not, I can tell you there is not a limit of going up. So I don't care how long you've been at rock bottom or how many times you've been there. The sky is the limit. That sounds stupid and cheesy. But, let's be a corny bitch. I don't care. That's corny. But anyway, that's the last little tidbit I have for you guys. I have now sat in this Scooters parking lot for like an hour. And I think I'm going to crack open a cold Orange Kiss Alani because I'm addicted to them right now. They are so fire. Since Alani had to take away every good fucking flavor. The Kim K flavor was number one. I mean, out of this world. I would have literally bought stock in that fucking drink. It was so good. And nope, limited time. I fucking hate limited time shit. You always do it when you know that it's good. Like, you're so annoying for that. And then now we have, like, which I'm pretty sure Kim K was, like, strawberry lemonade or something different. And now we have, like, 2 orange ones and 2 cherry ones and 2 strawberry ones and 2 blue ones. And, like, nobody fucking cares. I don't want cherry twist and cherry slush and cherry swirl and cherry. I don't want all those, okay? Why do we not have one tropical option now? You know, Tropsicle was the best. That is the OG for me. Tropsicle and Arctic White, those bitches were fire. And then Kim K became obsessed. Okay, then they took away Kim K, went back to Tropsicle because I didn't like any of the other ones. And look at us now. They took away Tropsicle, Kim K, everything I love, they fucking take away. So also, I saw that Celsius bought Alani, and they better not fuck it up like they fucked up Celsius, because I am not a fan of Celsius. So don't go ruining a good thing. But anyway, go treat yourself to something. Celebrate your life. Celebrate others' lives. We can pull an Ellen and be kind to one another. We love the gays. But yeah, do you, boo. I mean, like, the only thing I really have to tell people, like, if my biggest advice is fucking do it. Just do it. Literally, Nike, do it, okay? Like, I don't give a fuck. Go to the concert. Spend the money. You'll make your money back. Break up with that person who make you feel like shit every fucking day. Yeah, it sucks. You're going to sleep on your friend's couch for a week and a half. That sucks. But the outcome of that, be ready for the better things that are coming. When you're not ready, you can't accept a great-ass relationship when you're in a shitty one. Yeah, I'm going to leave you with that. So, I love you. Thank you so much for listening to my second episode. If you do, I don't really care if you subscribe or do any of that shit. I don't think it matters for me at this point, but cool if you want to follow along. If you can, help me share this podcast link on, like, Instagram stories or Facebook stories. I would love that, just because I'd love to meet new people and, you know, start reaching out to people that I don't know. I think that'd be cool. So yeah, thanks. I appreciate you being here. I will see you in episode 3. Bye.